The Finger Lakes is one of the most celebrated wine regions in the country, but before its vineyards, it was home to one of the most powerful stories in history. Not only was it the birthplace of the women's rights movement, but it was also the site of one of the most important scientific discoveries that was made by a woman, but almost nobody knows her name. So this is Eunice Newton Foote, who is a scientist, inventor, and women's rights activist who was born in Connecticut in 1819, but was raised in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. She was actually one of the 100 people who signed the Declaration of Sentiments at the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848. So she was deep in her activist bag, but this was not her most groundbreaking contribution. It was actually in science. In 1856, working out of her home laboratory, Eunice actually conducted a series of experiments where she wanted to see the effects of heat on specific gases, such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, moist air, and dry air. So she placed these different gases in cylinders and heated them up with the sun's rays. And she found that the cylinder that was filled with carbon dioxide heated up the most and took the longest to cool down. And her conclusion was stunning for its time because it ultimately revealed that higher levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere would warm up the planet. And what she described back then is what we now call the greenhouse effect, which is the foundational principle of everything we understand about climate change today. But because she was a woman, she wasn't allowed to present her own paper at the 1856 meeting at the American Association for the Advancement of Science. A male colleague actually read it on her behalf. And unfortunately, 3 years later, this guy, John Tyndall, an Irish physicist, he actually replicated her experiments and received the credit for this scientific phenomenon for over 150 years. So as a woman and amateur scientist, it tracks that she wasn't going to get credit for this, like many other women of that time. But the science that she produced was still undeniable. And the same region that gave us the women's rights movement also gave us the mother of climate science. And her name was Eunice Newton Foote. Cheers.